zero.
And just so we're clear as we go through this conversation, you're half black, half white.
Half black, half white.
All right. And going to a place like Romania, 100% white, 99% white?
Yeah, 99% white.
Okay.
It's 99% white. Everyone's white. And
so in a good case, people just think you're tan.
Yeah, they think I'm tan. But even some of my friends who came to visit me who are black, they don't really have a problem with it. But we're never going to be seen as Romanians.
That's my point. It's more so it's just very obvious because the country is so homogeneous in terms of the skin color.
Yeah, we're never going to be seen as Romanians. And it would be insulting for me to try and be a Romanian. This is what's kind of unique because in America, you can turn up here, you can look Japanese, you can be from Japan. But if you speak fluent English without an accent, you're American, right? But you can go to Japan and speak.
And that is a very aspirational thing and heavily encouraged by the country and not seen as a negative. It's actually seen as a positive. Hey, we want people to come here
completely
that are contributing to society, that are smart. We want them to become Americans, the American dream, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, what you're saying is other countries, that's not true.
Absolutely not. You can go to Japan and speak fluent Japanese without an accent, be perfect. You don't look Japanese, you are not Japanese, and you will never be Japanese. You'll never be treated like a Japanese. And every man out there does not want his daughter with you because you're not Japanese. It's the same thing in Romania to a degree, right? I was in a taxi and it was 3 a.m. and these two girls were in the taxi and they were walking through the park. And I said, I still find it very strange that girls walk alone at night here, everywhere, and there's no problems. And the taxi driver said to me, yes, but they're Romanian girls. A Romanian wouldn't hurt a Romanian girl. As in, it's like, why would someone hurt her? Because we're all Romanians. That's completely gone from the West. So that was like mind-boggling to me. But then also, if the police stop me or something, I am treated with additional suspicion. Oh, especially because I have a nice car, right? I have 17 nice cars. Don't want to brag. But when I have 17 supercars. But if I get stopped in the Lambo or the Ferrari at night and they come up and there's a foreign plate, it's a British plated car, and they come up and they find out I'm American, they do call for backup. They are very sketchy. They're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Is it because you're American, because you're half black, or because of the car, or
I think it's a combination of everything.
All three.
But I've been in the car with my Romanian friends when the police stopped them, and it's far more relaxed. It's far more like, hey, you were speeding. Oh, no. And they're like, yeah, I was speeding. And they're not angry. Like, it's kind of interesting as well, because an American cop, if you speed, will be genuinely mad at you for breaking the law. Whereas a Romanian cop will be more like, we all do it, but I got you. Ha ha ha. And they all laugh and have a joke, and then you pay a bribe and it goes away. It's like, it's very much more chilled. But when I get stopped, it's not chilled. I'm not a Romanian.
Would American cops be more chill if they got the bribe?
Maybe. But then also, no one runs from the police. Police never get shot. Like, it's just a different environment completely. Like, there's never been, I think the police have killed one person in like 22 years or something. Like, no one, it's just a different environment. It's really, really safe place overall. So it's kind of cool from that perspective. And you're right, but the way I'm treated in Romania, if I was treated that way in America, I'd be kicking off and this is racist. But they're racist. They are racist. But I just think, I'm on their turf and I respect it. So it's like, it is what it is.
It kind of almost sounds like it's accepted and therefore nobody argues about it. Whereas in the United States, right, the expectation is that no racism is the default, right? Yeah. Whereas there it almost feels like racism is the default.
Well, the thing is you have to recognize about racism, I'm saying this as a half black, half white person, right? I think we often confuse racism with pattern recognition. And I know this sounds bad, but it's true. If I walk down the street and a purple man attacks me, and then I walk down the street again, and a purple man attacks me, the 2 years later when I'm walking down the street and I see a purple man, I'm going to be more intimidated than if it was a green man, for example. That's pattern recognition. This is how humans learn to not go stroke lions. Because remember when that guy stroked the lion and ripped his head off? I'm not going to do that anymore. That's pattern recognition, right? So we also have to address the fact that certain people in certain positions are going to unfortunately have a bias towards certain things because of a pattern they've recognized. That's not racism, right? So I understand that the Romanian police, for a while, they had problems with Russians and a few other nationalities. Anyone who wasn't Romanian was seen as a criminal. And I'm turning up in a super fast car. I'm not Romanian. They're going to want to get me out my car, search my car, get the drug dogs, because that's just the pattern they've recognized. The biggest problems and the biggest busts they've ever had have been non-ethnic Romanians. So I just respect it. I'm not going to sit there and let it bother me.
Do they give you a hard time?
They give me a semi-hard time, but I'm also super friendly. I know how to get through life. This is another thing that people don't understand about racism. I'm telling you now, people who say America's racist, blah, 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 fine. You could get probably the most racist cop in America. And I'm not going to say all the cops are perfect because I've seen them do some dumb stuff. Of course I have. But in general, I like to believe that if you show someone respect, 99% of the time they show you respect back, regardless of what color they are. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When the police stop me, I just show absolute respect. I'm just like, oh, I love Romania. I'm so thank you for letting me be here. And after like 10 seconds, they're like, oh, okay, it's cool. But like, if I was getting out like, hey, why are you stopping me? You're stopping me because I'm foreign. I'm a big dude. Now they're going to be getting their hand on the gun. Like, why? It's just stupid. I don't know. I think a lot of people make a lot of stupid decisions out here. But yeah, in terms of racism, America is absolutely not the most racist country in the world. If you travel like I have, I've been to 72 countries. Basically, every country is more racist than America. I was in Iraq. Long story. I was in Iraq. They're all racist against each other for tribe or for last name.
Where'd you go?
I was in Iraq. I was in Baghdad about 3 years ago. There was a member of parliament wanted to become the sports minister. And to become sports minister, he wanted to fill a stadium and have a kickboxing fight in front of everyone, but he didn't want to lose, so he fixed it. And because he fixed it, he wanted legitimate world champions to come to give it credibility, and he wanted me to give a speech afterwards. And he paid me a bunch of money and got me a government pass and a private jet from Romania to go to Iraq. And I'm kind of like, is this stadium going to just blow up? You know, when you're in Iraq and you're like in the stadium, me and Tristan are down on the grass, like far away from the bleachers. We're just like, oh man. But even
to almost anyone else in the world, to be like, you know, when you're in Iraq, that'd be a weird thing to say. But yes, I do know what it's like to be in Iraq.
Yeah, okay, so you know, right? So yeah, and so I've been all over the world, and there's racism absolutely everywhere. Africa's completely racist. They're all racist. Hutu, Tutu. Look up your history. They were at war with each other for basically no reason. Humans are tribalistic, right? And the number one way you're going to destroy racism, if you really want to destroy it, is to stop talking about it. Stop discussing it.
You think that's the solution?
I think it's the beginning of a solution. Okay. I think if we just look at police brutality as opposed to police brutality versus white, black, Asian, let's look at police brutality. Right now, we have this Stop Asian Hate thing going on. And yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Okay, stop Asian hate. Because you see some Asian person get beat up and it's on the internet. I guarantee yesterday when that Asian person got beat up, a black guy got his ass whooped and a white guy got his ass whooped just the same. People get ass whoopings. Like, why do we have to put a race on the ass whooping? Stop ass whoopings. Why add a race in? Mm-hmm. Stop police brutality. Why add a race in? Why are we adding race to everything? If all you look for is the same thing and you add a race taint to everything, then you're going to see racism. That's how it works. That's how the world works. It's like when you buy a Lambo and you thought you never saw a Lambo before. Now you see them everywhere and you're mad because you thought you were special and you're not. It's the same thing. If all you look for and all you talk about is the same thing, you're going to identify it, right? So we need to stop all police brutality against all people, even against sexy caramel kickboxing world champions. Leave me alone. This is how the world needs to be. But it's just fixation on race. And to tie into maybe the Bitcoin argument a little bit, but I truly believe this is propagated by the ruling elites on purpose.
Why?
Because when a black billionaire meets a white billionaire, do you think there's any racism? Do you think they care? Of course, he's a billionaire. I'm a billionaire. Both our yachts are in Monaco. He's from Algeria. He stole all the gold. I'm a stock market, whatever. There's no racism. The racism's for the poor people. Because if you keep the poor people divided, they can't wake up long enough to do what I did and read about how money works. Because if they do that, we're got big trouble, right? Then the slaves will wake up. You don't want to deprogram the slaves. So you have to convince the slaves that it's not the monetary system's fault that you're broke. It's not the monetary system's fault that you continue to work for a set number of dollars and the price of houses just keep going up and up and up. It's not the monetary system's fault. It's the white man's fault or the black man's fault or the Asian people's fault. Someone else's fault. Because if the poor people all fight each other, they can't wake up long enough to look up and go, there's not actually that many of them. Okay. You know, and we can change things. And this is what's crazy about it. I think all this stuff, feminism, racism, all these things, I think they're all control mechanisms. They have to keep the poor people fighting amongst each other because if the poor people all unite, then it's much harder to control us. That's all I really truly believe is happening. I believe we live in a world now where the people who are truly in charge of the world are scrambling, trying to find new mechanisms to control people. They're scrambling because the internet has allowed us to think for ourselves. The old mechanisms of controlling people, the old propaganda machine, like the Vietnam War. Tell them they took one of our boats, put it on the news. Now we can go send young men to die in Vietnam. I was in Vietnam. I'm military aged. Now when I go to Vietnam, we're all happy and smiles, right? 40 years ago, they'd be shooting me. Like all those people died there for what? It's stupid. The whole thing is stupid. And they lied on the news about why we even went there. But now that we have the internet, and now people can look and fact check things themselves, they're like, okay, well, our propaganda mechanisms, they still work. Corona's proved a lot of that. They still work, but it's getting harder and harder. So we need to distract the people. We need to distract them. Did you know all the police are racist? All of them. Every single police officer is racist. You know they're going to kill you for no reason? Did you know that? Mm-hmm. It's a control mechanism.
Who do you think is in charge of the world?
You want me to go Alex Jones? On a level of 1 to 10, how Alex Jones do you want me to go?